So just kind of like, so when did you like make the change to, or decide like you wanted to pursue something else? Just out of curiosity. We're not starting yet, but I'm
Mhm.
just curious.
So I still am in corporate America.
Okay.
Yeah, so I juggle. This is my side gig.
Mhm.
I am a relationship manager for a global insurance company.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So you're like, yeah,
but I was unfulfilled.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was always the bridesmaid, never the bride, right? So I've been at my employer for 17 years, and so they've known me for a really long time, since I was 21, right? And um I think that that's like how they're always going to view me. Is that
Mhm.
21-year-old, that drank too much at one of the holiday parties. And I think they kind of made that decision about me a long time ago. And unfortunately, I kept like fighting it, trying to fight it, like trying to prove to them that I was like capable of taking on more, doing more, being more responsible, being a leader. And I would apply for all these promotions and I wouldn't get them.
Got it.
So
So what's
I decided not to outsource my value anymore.
okay? I like that. And
Hmm.
so then you just started like, all right, I want to do something like this to kind of find your purpose.
So I think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, but like, sorry, there's a hair somewhere in my mouth here. Um, you're kind of always a coach, right? Like you don't like just become one day. Like you realize that that's who you are. And you're like, oh my God, like all this time, no wonder. Like I can be friends with anybody, right? I can be friends with 60-year-olds. I can be friends with 20-year-olds. I can be friends with 6-year-olds if I have to, here
Yeah.
at home with my children and their friends. And like you just start to realize like, oh, okay, yeah, that's because I can connect with people, because I understand people like at every level. And um I like to connect with them. So
Yes.
that's kind of what led me like down this path. But oddly enough, like during COVID, my corporate employer was offering like a shit ton of wellness, right? Because we were all losing our mind because it was COVID, it was scary, it was isolating, it was weird. And they offered a whole bunch of these like things that we could do to, for mental wellness, right? So one of them was forward back career planning.
Okay.
So it wanted you to think about like who you wanted to be when you retired from the company.
Mhm.
And instead of thinking about like your next role, it wanted you to really think about like who do you want to become in the end, and what goals do you need to set for yourself in order to get there. And I think that that's when it like clicked, like I like this, like this is what I want to do. Like I want to help people plan this out and navigate this and like realize that they're in the driver's seat, that the choice is theirs and that they have control over their destiny. So I really put like a lot of thought into it and I took it very seriously. And I put on there that I wanted to be a coach. I wanted to be a career coach in corporate America. And no lie, probably 2 months later, there was like a job opportunity, like an extracurricular in my corporate life. And it was like, are you interested in becoming a certified coach? And I was like, what? Like, I
Yeah.
manifested this.
Yeah.
So I like raised my hand. Of course, my employer has 9,000 people and they were only looking for 20. So I'm like, shoot, like, oh my God. So I had these interviews and I told you I'm super awkward. So I was super awkward in the interviews as well. And I remember crying. They asked me like if I could explain to them like why I wanted to do this. And I remember crying because I remember thinking like, I am your person. Like there is no other person for this but me. And
Right.
here I
Right.
am, 3 years later, and I actually lead that whole organization now.
Right.
So I have like we have 50 coaches that, are certified in my organization, and I am the co-lead. I work alongside HR and I upskill them. So I make sure that the coaches have relevant skill sets and a plethora of techniques, and we coach our colleagues, and it's really great. And so then I kind of took it like the next step. And when I had my third baby, I really didn't want to go back to like the grind, not the
Yeah.
grind, but like I didn't want to go back to a job that felt like I wasn't fulfilled.
Mhm.
And so I had this coaching thing kind of that I had already set sail on at work. And when I was on maternity leave, I had decided then that, you know what, I'm going to take this one step further. I'm actually going to go back to school and I'm going to become a coach. I'm going to get some coaching certifications and I'm going to see what happens. And I set no real like boundaries for myself. Like I wasn't like, I'm going to go get my certification. I'm going to quit my corporate job. I'm going to open this coaching business. I'm going to take on all these clients. I'm going to make $1 million. Like I really take it one bite at a time, literally one bite at a time. So, I graduated, I got my certifications and I opened an LLC and I bought insurance and I started marketing myself and I got my first client and then I got my second client and then I got my third and my fourth. And I was like, oh my God, I'm doing this.
That's awesome.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
It's almost like life, like this, like showed it to you, right? Like it just showed it to you. Like, all right, here it is. Like it's yours if you want it. You know what I mean?
But
But it
did
takes-
did it show it to me or did I decide to see it?
That's what I'm saying. Like it was a tier. Like, are you gonna see it? Do you want it? And there it is, right? So that's cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you're taking the step to like make it actually happen
Yeah.
rather than like wishing it.
Yeah, and at some points, like you kind of sit back and you reflect, and you're like, "What am I doing?" Right? Like I work full time in corporate America. I have 3 children. I have a husband that works like an even bigger job than I have. Right? He's got tons of responsibilities in his role, and you know, I own this business on the side, and like I'm working with clients on Saturday mornings before baseball practice. Like it's just so crazy, like what am I doing? I'm up in my bedroom at 9 o'clock at night, like cataloging client notes and updating my business ledgers. Like you're just kind of like, wow, like why am I doing this? But then you realize like you're doing it because this is lighting you up. It's filling your cup and it's giving you purpose and fulfillment. And I knew that I could not get that fulfillment from my corporate job, right? So if I was going to stay in my corporate job, I had to do something that was going to motivate me because I wasn't getting that motivation. I was getting looked over for jobs. I was not getting the respect I deserved. So, ultimately it was like, you either do this or you don't, and you sit in that.
Right.
You don't like yourself and you don't like the way it feels and you're miserable all the time and you're pulling other people into your miserableness because, misery loves company, right? So it's a constant reminder that like every day the choice is yours. And I tell people all the time, like, I'm my own biggest coaching client.
Mm.
You guys know, right? Like, I mean, just because we're coaches doesn't mean that we don't need a kick in the pants from time to time as well.
Yeah.
So it's never ending, but it's like a really good never ending.
Yeah. That's why it's good that we have each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people tell us that all the time. Like you guys are lucky you have one another. Cause like they'll be speaking from their vantage point. Like we don't have that. Like I don't have that other person next to me who's being like, no, you gotta do this or we gotta do this, right? So like that's where we never take that for granted. Where it's like every time one of us is like getting that kick in the pants, the other one needs like, thank you, I needed that. You know what I mean? Like you just kind of when it's getting brought to you like that. So
Yeah, and you build those trusted relationships for sure.
yeah, no doubt.
We're like already balls deep in the
We are.
podcast here.
Yeah.
Some great stuff. So because I have obviously I have some things I want to say too, but
Yeah.
let's get going.
Is
Formally going.
that obvious? I'm not sure.
Yeah. All right. So we'll have a formal, open here, right? you can say whatever you want. Like there's not nothing.
You can curse if you want.
I'm not. Yeah, we're not sure if you're a cursor or not, but it's all yours if you want to. If there's anything you say afterwards, you're like, I changed my mind. I don't want that in there. Just let us know.
No, there is no changing your mind. So like I believe in the universe, right? And I believe that everything happens for a reason. And what happens here. And that's the way it goes. So there is no editing here. I'm sorry, guys.
Hey, make it easy on us. That's
Hey,
fine.
hey, it's our podcast.
All right. Are you good?
I'm ready.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, everybody, welcome in. This is the first episode of the Pursuit Podcast, formerly known as the Model Mindset Podcast. And we have our very first guest today, Amanda Lang, who is an embodied self-leadership coach. And now, Amanda, I want to give you the floor here for those of our listeners that you don't know what that is exactly, right? What that entails. Give us a little background on what your role is, what your profession is, and a little bit about yourself here.
Yeah, sure. So Amanda Lang, as they said, known these guys for a very long time. I was thinking about this morning. John, I don't even know if you realize that you know me, but I was like besties with your sister in like 3rd and 4th grade, I think. So I spent a significant amount of time at your house when you were like really little. And surprise!
Really?
Ryan, you and I go way back because of Dave
yeah.
Hamill, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
Yeah,
like I said, everything happens for a reason, but I am a mom. I have 3 children. That's my first job. Henry is 9, Hannah is 6, and Harley is 2. I am married. My husband, Steve, he works for a construction company. He's the director of operations for a big construction company in East Hartford. And I work in corporate America full time. I'm a relationship manager for a global insurance carrier, one of the top 5. And I own Rise and Shine Evolutionary Coaching. So like John said, I am a embodied self-leadership coach. So what is that? Like, it sounds like a lot of words, but what does it actually mean? So embodied means all things, right? Mind, body, and self. So I am a firm believer that everything is connected without a doubt. So like you fix one, you fix it all. If one thing's broken, everything is kind of needing repair. So embodied is that's how that encompasses kind of what my soul practice is. And self-leadership, that just means like learning who you are, what you need, what you want, and how you're going to get it, right? I said to you guys at the beginning when we were, chit-chatting before we really took off here that I don't outsource my worth to anybody else anymore. I don't let somebody else identify what I'm capable of, what I can do, what I can't do, what I will do, what I will not do, what I should do, what I shouldn't do. And that's what I work with my clients on, is to make sure that they can articulate those things about themselves so that they can take those steps forward to become the person that they've been dreaming of.
Good.
I love that. And, as you're talking, it sounds like, do you focus a lot on establishing boundaries?
100%. Yes.
Yeah. Do you find that most people, and I'd like to know as well from your perspective as well, was that something that you figured out, that I need to have boundaries in my life in order to control my happiness? And that's where a lot of people also struggle?
Yeah. Yep. And I try to break it down because boundaries is such, like, we hear it all the time, right? Oh, boundaries, you better set some boundaries. You don't have very good boundaries. But like nobody ever tells you, what does that even mean? What is the boundary? Like, what is it? So I really try to break it down into like really common language. So, and I don't want to like give away all my secrets here. I like you guys, but I can't give you all my stuff. But I kind of describe it with my clients and just people in general, my friends, my families. Boundaries are kind of like these fences that you set around yourself, right? And you get to pick where those fence posts go. And you also get to pick when you move those fences in or when you open that gate, right? And when you decide to open that gate, you have to take all of the riffraff that's going to come into your fence as a result.
Yep.
But yes,
Yeah.
Brian, without a doubt, boundaries is huge in my practice, right? Because we have to stop blaming other people. We have to stop blaming. We have to stop outsourcing, right? Like I said, outsourcing your worth. I'm never going to have that because of this, right? You know, we need to stop doing that. All of that has to do with boundaries. But also, you didn't ask this question, but sorry, I'm like just a crazy person. It Who you surround yourself makes a huge difference, right?
That's a difference. Massive
Yeah.
difference for sure.
Yeah.
And now, when did you? Because everyone I feel like who's in this field or has an interest in personal development or self growth has that like moment they can remember very clearly where it was like, this is where my life is taking me. I have a very strong interest in, yes, this field, but what it does and how it makes me feel. Was there a moment or time you can recall that you latched on to this field, personal development, personal growth, because something happened in your life or where you were at a moment in time in your life?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it was a couple of things that just kind of like added on top of each other until that light bulb went off that I was like, all right, like I'm just going to do this, right? A lot of it has to do with trust. I don't know if that resonates with you guys, but sometimes like trust in the unknown, right? Like what am I doing? Like what is my identity and my brand, and you know what am I capable of? So part of it was that, right? I think COVID honestly was like, I've said this before in some of the events that I've been in. It's kind of like a blessing and a curse, right? Because like the world was such a crazy place during that time, and you were so isolated as humans and questioning every decision you made. I mean, we were like literally, I think about this all the time, and I know I told you guys you can't edit this stuff, but if you wanted to edit this out, that's fine. But like I think about this all the time. We were fucking spraying our packages with Lysol.
We were.
We sure were.
Yeah.
In the fuck? Like
Yeah.
what? So
Yeah.
anyway, like I think when that was going on, I definitely was like, something's off here. Like, what's going on in this world? And like, how much of this is actually happening? Or am I imagining that this is happening? Or do they want me to imagine this is happening? Or like, I just had so many questions. And I feel like that's like when I started to realize, I think the true answer to your question, John, is like I started to realize that my intuition was screaming at me.
Mhm.
and and as I started to deepen my understanding of that gut instinct and that intuition, and I started to trust it,
Mhm.
and I started to hold firm in my own beliefs, no matter what society was saying, no matter what my family was saying, no matter what my friends were saying. And I just held firm in who I was and what I wanted for my individual family. um I realized that, like, yeah, you're being led by the universe, you know, like this is where you're supposed to go. It all starts here. Honestly,
Mhm.
that's what it felt like. It was like as soon as I started to tap into my gut wisdom.
Yeah, and so it's funny you say that because like I see some stuff sometimes. I'm sure you have too, and I want to ask if you have, Amanda, where they're kind of showing research and science backed information where it's like a gut feeling is actually like a legitimate thing, and it's not just like a saying. Now, have you heard anything about that or like that before that backs up like the validity of what you're saying here?
It is honestly, when we talk about embodied self
Yeah.
leadership, that is exactly what I'm talking about. Like learning to trust yourself and what your body is telling you. So, a lot of my practice is rooted in nervous system regulation. So, I don't know if you guys dabble in that at all with your clients, but like just helping people get down to a level where it's just not constant fight or flight all the time, because you can't heal when you're in a stress response.
Mhm.
And I feel like in order to de-escalate that stress response and regulate your nervous system, you have to listen to what your gut is telling you. And your body is such a beautiful thing, a beautiful thing. I mean, it does incredible things, right? Like it creates a baby, it builds a baby, it feeds a baby, it births a baby, it does all these crazy things. And like, we don't listen to it enough. We don't
Yeah.
listen to it enough. We don't listen to the warning signs when we're getting a little nudge from the universe, from our body, our own warning system telling us something's off balance here. We don't listen to it. Instead, we chalk it up to anxiety. We chalk it up to boredom. We chalk it up to, oh, I didn't exercise enough. Like that extra weight that we carry, that's not always because we're making unhealthy food decisions. It's because it's all that energy that we're not dealing with needs a place to live.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is
So
so
it
true.
lives there.
Yes, that is so true.
And too, I also think we as people tend to think and carry put weight on other people's opinions, and it's like at times we neglect our gut feeling or like what we feel we should be doing, but
Mhm.
then we ask other people's opinions whether or not it really are the right people to ask. But it's like we'll put value into their guidance rather than taking a step back and think about, okay, what do I want, or what do I feel is the right decision,
Mhm.
and just taking a step back. I think too often times, because I mean, especially with social media and stuff, we all see things that are manufactured rather than, okay, yeah, that's cool, but it's also like this is not it's not real.
Mm.
But we have to take a step back at times, just think about what we want. And I think, you know, what resonated with me is when you were talking about, corporate America and those changes and thinking about, making a change in your life. I was at that point in my life too, where, I was a father, a husband. I was these labels, but I wanted more out of my life. And
Mhm.
I had that come to Jesus moment. I think a lot of people get that, and probably a lot of people you're coaching as well, where it's like they get to a point in their life where they question, is this it?
100%.
It's scary.
It is.
And do you find that
Mm.
people are coming to you where they're having that, is this it? Is this it for me? It's like, am I just going to be a mom, a dad, working this job that brings me nothing?
I would say that the people who give in to that are not my clients.
Okay.
It's the ones who know that this isn't it, right?
Right.
It's the ones who know that they've got to make a change before something happens, right? It's the ones who know that they've tried a ton of things and nothing seems to work and this is like a last resort for them. It's those people. It's I think what you said, Brian, about, giving giving too much weight to people's opinions. So that's like a really complex brain thing, right?
Mhm.
I mean, and that is so deep rooted. There's a reason why we do that. There's a reason why we look to other people for opinions because the story we tell ourselves about what we're capable of, what we're worth, what we're worthy of, what we can do, what we deserve has a lot to do with that in
Yeah.
general.
Mhm.
And if we're telling ourselves these stories that we're not strong enough to make those decisions or we can't stand up against society because, why are we going to do that? We can't stand up against this because there's no worth to it. Everyone else is going in a different direction. Why am I going to go this way? You
Yeah.
can. You can. The choice is yours. And I think that for me, like, I feel like the biggest breakthroughs with my clients are when they realize that the choice is theirs and they start to play with that a little bit and they start to make decisions and they start to see the beauty that unlocks as a result of it. And then they become believers themselves,
Yeah.
I don't know if that resonates with you guys about your clients as well, but like, do you feel like some of the time that you spend with your clients, you're kind of helping them believe in themselves?
All the time. It's probably one of the biggest components of what we talk about is self-belief, and the power of what belief does, coming from somebody else as well. Like you're looking for a way to build confidence in somebody, let them know you believe in them and show them that you believe in them. People need to hear that. People need to feel that, because they don't a lot of times, because they don't feel it in themselves a lot of times, right? So they think if I can't feel it myself, how could someone else believe me if I don't even believe in me, right?
Mhm.
And we talk about it a lot too, like inside of like with our children and like with the girls I coach for soccer. Like that's one of the biggest things we talk about in practicing in games. Before my girls put PK in the game, I stop them, I look at them, I say, believe in yourself. Now go kick. You know what I mean? 'Cause you can't do that, right? Positive affirmations to these individuals, but self-belief is far and away probably our biggest component when it comes to what we do inside of our work. But a
Mhm.
lot of in there too, Amanda, was they come to you and they start to see, if they're willing to make those changes, some of these benefits will happen to them, right? And those changes are behaviors and habits a lot of times, I would assume, right?
Mhm.
And now you're the master of habit change here. What are some effective ways that you see with your clients that those habits, because it's hard to break old habits and develop new habits, a lot of times it takes consistency to do both. What are some effective ways now people can develop these new habits that you've worked with your people?
Okay, well, let me put this back to you guys for a second. So, like,
Right.
when you learn something new at work, right? Or not when you learn something new, when someone comes to you and says, you got to make this change, right, to your process, and you've been doing this for 17 years, right? Like, what do you mean I have to make this change? Like, I can't make this change. I've been doing this job the same way for 17 years, right? What happens in those moments to you guys?
Oh, I mean, right away you kind of get fearful. You get a little bit of anxiety, because it's like it's change, fear of
Yeah,
the unknown.
resistance for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discomfort there, right? And John, you said it's hard. Yeah, it's totally hard. What makes those moments easier for you?
Ooh, it's a good question.
I would say when I can take a step back and kind of think through the actual change itself and then say, okay, what can I control? Right? Why am I actually stressed or overwhelmed?
Mhm.
And a lot of it is because when I am stressed or overwhelmed, it's because I'm unclear on something. And so it may be where I have to get clarity from someone else, or maybe I'm focusing my energy on something that's outside of my control.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I would say something around like that.
for sure. And also, I think wanting to see or understand what the end game is. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you want to know, like, okay, where if I do it this way, then how will it benefit me, right? Why should I change? Because if it's not going to benefit me, then why should I change it? Or why should I do it a different way? So I think the end game is a big piece as well.
So you just answered your own questions, my friend. I mean, what we do in my practice, what I do with my clients, right? Because I'm not helping my clients, I am right alongside them. We are working together. It's a tag team. I help them understand the why, right? Why are they doing this? Why are they making this change? And then I help them understand why their brain is fighting them.
Got you. I like that.
And I help them understand that, and again, like I can't give you all my secrets, but what is the brain's number one job?
To keep us safe.
To keep us safe. So when we do the same things over and over again, our brain says, this is safe. I know what's going to happen here. I'm comfortable with this because I've seen this play out for 17 straight years. When we try to do something new, when we try to take on a new habit, our brain is saying, whoa, 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 there's a bear over there. We got to run from that bear because we don't know what's going to happen if we go over there, right? So our brain is constantly going to try to talk us into going back to what it always knows. 100% of the time. So once you realize that you are fighting your brain, habit change is easy.
So you would suggest to your clients then to, I think, how we talked about before, be more intuitive with yourself, right? Like, and challenge.
You have to know your why. You have to know at the end of the day why you're doing this, right? Is it because you want to be a better dad? Is it because you want to be a better partner? Is it because you feel unfulfilled in your career, right? And sometimes in order to know the why, Brian mentioned that like he needs clarity, right? So like what happens if I stay doing what I've always been doing, right? Well, I feel like crap, right? I don't feel fulfilled. I don't show up well in my family life, in my personal life, my professional life, right? So you root yourself in that why, and you use that as the motivation to take those steps forward and to create these new healthy habits. And the work that I do around habit change goes so much deeper than just the mindset, right? So I also work with clients to reimagine their relationship with food,
Mhm.
to stop seeing food as something that is tasty and fills a craving, and to start seeing it as the gas that we need to put in our tank so that we can keep the car moving forward.
Right. Right.
We step back on everything. That's why a lot of my clients do the 90-day evolution, because it takes 90 days for your brain to actively go through this process in order to flip that switch and result in sustainable habit change.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
I think it was Atomic Habits. It was like, what was it, 66 days for a habit to become behavior. So you
Mhm.
find 90-day challenge, it's typically where people are integrating with the habit, they are seeing that it's working.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
is that where you start to carve out and dive deeper into things that they're looking to change or continue to grow.
Yeah, and then they realize what they're capable of.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the goals that they set out for, they want to gain confidence, they want to learn a new skill, they, want to do this, they want to do that, right? All of a sudden you realize that you're meeting with them once a week and they're telling you that they're waking up earlier now, and
Right.
that they stopped drinking coffee. And,
Mhm.
like you just see this positive, domino effect. That's another reason why I think everything is interconnected. Like you start to plug in some of those holes, right? And, everything starts to reinflate again.
Yeah. And it's funny because we talk about the word maintenance a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And we use it in a way of once these behaviors change and these habits develop, that doesn't mean you can't go backwards though. But like if you stop doing the little things that got you there, and that's what we kind of call the maintenance, right? You always have to do the maintenance.
Yep.
Is that a topic of conversation with your clients too? In that the kind of little stuff, always staying consistent with that from start to forever, essentially.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily, I don't like hammer them, right? Like if they show up and they didn't do something that they said they were going to do, like we talk about it. Of course we do, because that's part of my job as their coach, is to hold them accountable. But what we end up talking more about is like why.
Yeah.
What plug came undone?
Mhm.
Right? Because last week when I met with you, you were gung ho and you were ready to do these things. You were feeling some type of way. We articulated that. You were engaged with your why. You had, all these reasons why you were doing this. And then we show up in week 2 or week 3. Usually it's like around week 3 or 4, honestly. Like I feel like my clients get off to like a good start at the beginning. And then all of a sudden, kind of like what you said, John, like they forget that like it's maintenance, that they have to like keep working to do it. So like around session 4, I would say they start to show up not as chipper anymore, and it's consistent every time, right? It happens every time. That 4th week, that 1 month in, and they start to step off the gas a little bit because they think that they've got it. They've had 3 great weeks of consistency and, they let their foot off the gas. And then we have to spend a little time in session 4 kind of really talking about why.
Yeah.
What
So-
obstacles are getting in your way?
Mm.
So is that where you see that they're motivated at first, and then that motivation kind of starts to waver, where it's like you're almost trying to transition that to discipline in a way?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to put it. I always go back to the brain though, right? Like, so what's happening in their brain at that moment? And, I think it's your brain working in overdrive, trying to remind you that this is unfamiliar territory.
Mm.
And if you continue down this path, there is an outcome that we're not sure of, right? And it's going to do everything it can to try to pull you back, to do your old ways, to follow your old patterns, to break the habits that you're trying so desperately to make. So we spend a lot of time in that session, really focusing on that. It's a choreographed program that I have. Every single client that I have that goes through the 90-day evolution, we go through it at the exact same pattern. I have certain programs, certain discussions at certain points in the program as well, because again, like, your brain is doing everything it can to go backwards. So I have to try to help them. I mean, I have a lot of analogies that I use that make it very relatable. I have an analogy that I use about parking a car in the same parking spot at the grocery store, right? Let that sink in for a second. Do you guys do that?
No, I
No.
parked the furthest freaking away. My
Yeah.
wife hates it.
Yeah.
I'm like way out. Why didn't you park so?
Every time though?
Normally, no. I mean, if I find close ones, I'll do it. Depends if I have the boys and it's a little congested, I'll park way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Most people pull down the same row and they park in pretty much the same spot. They know the turning radius. Yep, exactly. So I use that analogy because it helps people understand, like, oh my God, I'm parking a new car in a new spot, right? Sometimes when I'm working with corporate professionals, I talk about like upgrading your like software system,
Mhm.
right?
Yes,
That's what you're doing when you're
Yeah.
trying to change new habits, when you're trying to, bring a different perspective to things, switch your mindset, try different things. Like, you're upgrading your software. And as you continue to practice, it becomes second nature, kind of what you said, Brian, like around atomic habits or whatever, they become like just who you are. It does happen and it's so beautiful. It really is.
Now, I don't want you to give away the secret sauce, but are there some of your personal favorite tools that you enjoy? And then what tools do you see a high rate of success for with your clients?
Mm. So, I've talked a little about like everything being connected. You heal one, you heal it all, right? So obviously, I spend a lot of time diving into each individual part of my client's life, right? And I think it's week 5 or 6. Actually, it might even be later. It might even be 7 or 8. We do a wheel of life exercise, which is really interesting. And we actually plot on paper, what areas of our life are getting attention and what areas are not. And we really digest that.
I like that. So that could be relationship, marriage, could be career, could be finances. So you're really focusing on like the full spectrum of well-being.
100%. You have to, because it's all connected. When you start filling your cup and like even the comment I made about food as fuel, right? Like fuel for your gas tank, like joy is fuel for your gas tank.
For sure.
Yeah.
And
100%.
if you're not prioritizing joy, you are going to feel it.
Yeah. So let me ask you,
Mhm.
and I'm sorry to cut you off there, but it's something that we hear all the time. I guarantee you hear, I don't have time.
Mhm.
Now, let's say our rebuttal is to that, you prioritize things in your life, right? And if you're not making your happiness a priority, then you need to take something else out of your life to prioritize and make time for your happiness, right? It's all about prioritizing what you find to be most important. And our happiness should be one of the most important things in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, what we do is we try to, say our calendar is too full to make time for ourselves, which is insane to me to think about. Do you hear a lot from your clients or from just people in general? I don't have time.
Yeah, I do. And I have to, like take a step back and realize that everybody's at a different place in their journey, right? But like I think about like what you guys are doing and what I'm doing, right? Like we're parents, we work full-time jobs, we've got this side gig. Like you're really going to tell me you don't have time for something? Like that's so first of all, I'm just going to put that out there. Like I don't know that you want to have that conversation with me,
Yeah,
but
you can't busy us. Yeah.
second, it's like we talked about this a little bit at the beginning. I didn't really get into it, but this is another huge aspect of what I do with my clients is so your belief system is always going to result in your experiences, right? So like going back to like people who say that they're not worthy of something, right? That's their belief system. Their deep rooted belief system is that they don't deserve something, right? Because they were in abusive relationships. Their parents didn't give them the right attention, right? They're constantly chasing validation from people. They don't deserve a say, or they don't deserve to share their opinion because nobody wants to hear it, right? That's a deep-rooted belief system. And then every single thing that happens in their life, all of their experiences are going to reinforce that belief system. See, I told you. This is why I don't raise my hand, because nobody wants to listen to what I say. This happened to me when I was in corporate America. I told you I was applying for all these jobs and I was getting looked over, and I created this narrative in my head that these people were out to get me, right? They were sabotaging me. They didn't want me to succeed. And guess what happened?
That was your belief.
Yeah.
I didn't succeed.
Yeah.
I didn't get any of the jobs. Because that was always going to be the outcome, because that's the story I had created about myself. So I have to tell you, I forgot what the immediate question was that I started on this rabbit hole, but
I don't have time, right? Like,
oh,
people don't have
yes.
time,
Yes.
right? But
So
you're right. Everyone's on that different path, right? And you have to realize that. Like, you've always got to say, I don't know where you are in your journey, right? If this is our first time getting nursing, you're telling me you don't have time, maybe and we've dealt with, single parents of 3 or 4 children, right? Of all different ages, and they got 100 things going on. Like we understand, we get it, right? But just understanding the value of your happiness sometimes, right? There's a great saying that, it's so hard to change yourself, and you think you can easily change other people. You know what I mean? It's a very real thing. But so I want to wrap up here with this question. We're going to ask this question on every single one of our podcasts that we have moving forward, but you are the first one to answer this question. All right.
Oh gosh, no pressure.
No pressure, right? But we obviously have developed the pursuit. The pursuit is all about community. And you kind of touched on it at the start of this whole thing, right? That the value and importance of community. So how critical is community and surrounding yourself with the right people when building something meaningful?
It is everything. It's everything. These are, like we talked about with the boundaries that we set, the energy fences that we put up alongside ourselves. Like those are the only people that we should be letting into those fences, are the people that are going to build us up, and the people that are going to empower us, and they're going to remind us what we're capable of, and they're going to, remind us that we're badass, right? Like that we're doing all these things and we're doing it with a smile on our face, and, we're showing up. And in turn, when you feel good about who you are because you're getting, all of this support from all these people around you, you start to believe what they're saying.
No doubt.
And
No
then
doubt.
you start to be more motivated and take on new challenges and make all these changes because, you know, at this point, I feel like I've gotten to a point, and like you said earlier, though, like we're always our biggest coaching clients and we still need a kick in the pants sometimes. And sometimes I have bad days, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I've gotten to a point where like there is fucking nothing I can't do.
Hell yeah.
That's badass.
Preach.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It is true, right? And because
Nothing.
nothing. And the vision that I think individuals have, like, imagine and dream of the biggest thing, right? Because who says that's not attainable, right? People who aren't going for it are the ones who say it's not attainable, right? So, like, that's why it's so important to surround yourself with people who are going to be like, yeah, go get it. You got that. And let me help you along the way if I can, right? And I'm going to root you on the whole way. Like, that's the community, right? So when you say everything, it literally is everything. Yeah. Sure. So where can everybody find you? Website, socials, whatever you want to plug. Take your all the time you need here. Plug what where they can find you and how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Facebook at Rise and Shine Evolutionary Coaching, or you can follow me on Instagram at evolutionary_coach 860. Either one. I'm also on LinkedIn as well as Amanda Lang with Rise and Shine Evolutionary Coaching. Don't bother following my corporate Amanda Lang page because that one's boring, but the coaching one's a lot of fun. And I don't know if you guys typically like give out freebies to anybody, but I do have a freebie if you want to give it to any of the folks that are listening. So I can send that to you guys via email. It's like a little preface of my Rise and Shine starter kit. So when you sign on for one of my programs, you get the kit for free. It's a mini like self-paced workbook. There's some good information in there, journal prompts, and then there's morning checklists and things like that, just to kind of keep you on the straight and narrow.
Love that. Amanda Lang, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Crush it. That was good. That was fantastic. Let me stop the recording real quick.
Look at that. Like an organic conversation.
That's it. Just stop.
Sorry,
It's real
I
quick.
guess
No,
it helps when you're with two weirdos that also believe in the universe and things like
That's
that.
it.
Too. So.